I just want to invest in people that really want to be the best that they can be.
Hello, everyone, and hello, loan officers. This is Todd Scrima and the great Jimmy Reed, the GOAT, and Robyn LaVassaur. She rounds us all out because she's really the smartest one. We're doing a podcast on more leads now, and we just brainstormed these things before, and I was like, hey, more leads now. Every business has choke points. The choke point in loan officering is leads. That's what it is right now. So how a choke point works, if you do it right, is that's all you worry about. That's all you work on. That's all you, if you consume something, say content outside of your day-to-day, it's on lead generation. You're finding all kinds of people in our business, outside of our business, on lead generation. So the question is, you're plopped in a town. You're plopped in Fort Worth, Texas, Orlando, Florida, LA, and they say, you're a loan officer. How are you getting some more leads? Like that's a starting point, right? That's a fresh point. So Robyn, if that were to happen, whether you're experienced or inexperienced, how would you get more leads? You're heading in, like there's a nervousness around the industry right now because it's like, okay, rates are around 8% now. They've gotten higher and higher, and the business has gotten worse and worse. Depending on which stat you pay attention to, our real estate sales are about 20% below this time last year. However, there's still 4 million loans done a year. 4 million. So this is about how do you get 10 of them? How do you get 5 a month? How do you get 15 a month, or whatever the number is? So Robyn, in that context, what's one thing you're doing? I'm going to get more leads. I need to go out and get more referral sources. I need to get more leads. How am I going to do it? One thought. We'll just go around.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest thoughts is to ensure that every person that you have an opportunity to actually meet. And I'll give you an example. I was standing in church on yesterday, and literally they said, meet your neighbor. You know how the pastor stands up and says, hey, take a minute, welcome, greet people that are here. And I immediately was like, not just a hi, good to see you. I literally was like, I'm Robyn LaVassaur, like handshake. I'm going to grab hands. I'm going to squeeze it, like their name. What do you do for a living? It's one of my very first things. Now I'm at church and I'm focused on Jesus in my world. So I'm going to love on that, but I'm going to take every opportunity that I can have to make sure that people know and that I make an impression in that moment. And it's little things like a firmer handshake, direct eye contact, great energy, someone understanding that I'm excited and energetic about not only who I am and what I do, but interested and energetic about who they are and what they do. And I just think that people think they have to have this perfect plan to get out there and potentially generate curiosity. And I'll lead with this before I hand Jimmy real quick, because the tactic of just being so present in your own life, but being representative of what you do for a living and passionate about it, people won't ignore that. They never will when you lean into it that way. The other thing is, I say this all the time, I think I've even said it on this podcast before, but it goes to be said. I'm 45, so this year I got to have a colonoscopy, very fun. Wow. And I will tell you, nobody at the end of the day asks a gastroenterologist to tell them all about what they got to see and learn that day. Nobody wants to talk about what a colonoscopy doctor got to see. But if you say you're in lending or real estate, everybody wants to talk about it. Everybody has curiosity. Everybody has context to it. And I just think we don't give that credit. We wait for that, specific, I'm at the office. Is my phone going to ring? Now can I talk to somebody? The truth is the world in general is constantly thinking about one of the biggest topics at all times, and that is housing, if you will, in America. So why wouldn't we represent that as the person that they should call? All right, Jimmy.
Wow. I got something to write down. That was good. I mean, the problem with the topic, Todd, is that it may sound to someone like you can decide to do something today that's going to get you 40 leads today. Then I guess that may be possible, but it's not really a one-time thing. Like getting a lot of leads is about showing up every day, right? So my message is like, and it's really what Robyn is saying in a different way. It's highly active and highly visible, right? So I say if you want to get a lot of leads really fast, you got to shine a light on what you're doing every day. Right? You got to divide your time into lead generating activities and non. And right now, based on the average number of closings at even my branch, I would say about 30 hours a week needs to be in lead generating activity, right? And so highly active, highly visible only works really well when you bring Robyn's ingredient, which was really about energy and a narrative. Like, if you're a loan officer and you're going to go run into realtors and borrowers and they ask you about rates, they're probably going to say, rates are coming down next year, right? You're going to have your answers ready. Like, you got to have bullets in your gun. Like it's like, I always compare it to being a parent, right? My son's going out to parties in high school. He's going to be offered booze and drugs at some point for sure, right? And if you don't arm him,
sure.
maybe not for sure, but most likely. So if you don't arm him with what to say, he's more likely going to make a poor choice and show up poorly, right? So you got to give him ammunition for his gun. Oh, my dad's a freak. He smells my breath every night. He drug test me on Sunday. Oh, I'm getting a job in the next 2 weeks and they drug test. Something that they can say that blames someone else and gets them off the hook. That seems like it doesn't apply, but let me show you how it does. Someone comes to you and says, rates are going to go down next year, right? Here's what I see, or here's what I see. I see a person who's going to sit on their butt until next year, both realtor and lender. I really do. And so you got to be ready at a leadership moment in that, like, that dialogue is happening 20 times a day for loan officers. It happened to me 4 times today. I'm like,
Yes.
No. They all lean in. What do you mean, no? No. How could you count on something? And if you're so sure, there's got to be a way to be a billionaire by then if you're so sure. Like Shorting or whatever that movie was about. I don't really know. What I say is, no, rates aren't going down.
A big
Whatever
short.
I don't know, dude. I don't know, and neither do they. But they're like justifying their inactivity. The reason you don't have more leads is your inactivity and your lack of relationships. I called 20 high originators, like top earners in the nation. And I asked them all, do you know one person, that does a good business, closes loans, consumer direct? Do you know one? Bypasses builders and realtors, bypasses past clients. What was the answer? None.
No.
Of all of them, they knew one who used those platforms and successfully got attraction to realtors who then referred them. Right? And so, listen, it's a first-time home buyer must move up market. The $1.5 million houses, they're paying cash. They just are. Most. Now, of course, there's exceptions. Don't freak out and start texting me a bunch of stuff. Like you had a client yesterday. I get it. So be highly active and highly visible in those markets and have loan programs that solve problems. What kind of problems do first-time home buyers have? Income problems, credit problems, and down payment problems. Talk about that stuff. Be an expert. And because, the opportunity when they asked me, Todd and Robyn, about rates going down next year was to be a leader, not a follower. And because I chose a leadership answer, they leaned in. That's what I think.
Jimmy, Todd, can I tell you a story real quick? I was having lunch on Friday with all of my loan officers. I do a monthly lunch, and we're sitting there and we're telling stories. And one of the loan officers says, a few years ago, I was on a panel with Robyn. And this is going to sound like a little braggy story, and I don't mean for it to. These are his words, not mine. And he said, and I'm on this panel with Robyn, and there was 5 lenders total. And he said, and every single one of us literally proceeded to tell people about products. And I've got this, and it's a room full of real estate agents. And everyone there is quoting product. Everyone there is quoting, what they can do, their nuances, as if a realtor is taking notes on a 580 score for this program, specifically with this, if they can do that. And literally goes, and all of a sudden they get to Robyn and they call on her, and Robyn flips the script immediately and starts asking the agents what they need and giving sales-based tools to all the agents. She basically says, yeah, the product's important, but pick one of us lenders and we'll tell you all about it. You don't need to play lender. You need to play realtor, and let me help you build your business. And he goes, and as we all walked out of the building, Robyn had a line waiting for her, and all the rest of us just slowly exited post conference. And he goes, and I learned the best lesson right then. Now, he didn't come to work for me for a couple of years, but I think that one of the things that we get so hung up on is literally talking to realtors right now, like Jimmy said, not being prepared with how to respond, not having great role play and skill set around, hey, that realtor just challenged you with nobody wants to buy right now.
Yeah.
And the average lender, hear me, and you're probably guilty of it because sometimes even we're guilty of it, says, I know it's tough out there. Let's have a commiseration fest, right? Like let's sit here together and complain. And what I would tell you is there is such an opposite effect when you can stop and go, well, tell me what you do. What have you done in the past, right? Let's talk about where your clients come from. Let's talk about how I can help you with that. Do you know how many realtors just simply don't dial out of their own cell phone and talk to people about real estate every day that they know, like, and trust, and that already know, like, and trust them?
Yeah.
You could sit and do that alongside them as a lender and create more leads. You can create your own, mini networking group and create more leads. There's really endless, like you said, Todd, 4 million loans done across the United States of America. You need how many of them? To have a great business, you need how many of them? 60, 70 a year out of 4 million? If we're not good enough to create that, that's a problem.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this a little bit more literally. I watched a show. This was about 3 months ago. They took this guy who was a multi-millionaire. They dropped him off in a city, like a small town of some kind, and he had, I think it was $100 in his pocket. And they said, "You're so smart, show us how to make money." And the whole show followed this guy on how to get jiggy with it, with $100. And the first thing he did was he bought tires that people had discarded and resold them and made money, made like $500. Then he did something else. Long story short, he ended up partnering with this guy in a bar, becoming his partner, making several $1,000s a month doing that. Anyway, they just showed him, right? And his point was, you can make something out of nothing. That was the whole point of that show, okay? And he was doing it in a business sense. So if you drop me in a town, I don't care, pick a town, okay? You said you got to be a loan officer and you got to somehow find a way in 3 or 4 months to have 5 closings a month. What I would do is I would, first of all, get a list of, like, in the town I'm in, there's about 6,000, 7,000 realtors. I would take the list, and we all know these programs exist where you can take the top 200 buyer's agents. And I would literally contact 100 per day, every single day. And I would get 2 or 3 appointments every single day. And what I'd think about before I called them all, I'd think, what do they want?
Yeah.
Like, what's something that they couldn't say no to? And I'd pick a topic. And I'd do a video. And I'd have time realistically to call 40 a day, personally. And I'd text 60 a day of video on my offer. And I would skip social media. I would skip the low producers. I would skip, because anyone I'm contacting, they're active. They're closing 6 to 12 buyer deals a year because I'm dealing with the top 200. And if all I did in a month is I met with 60 of them or 30 of them, and I was really good with my offer, and I had I don't know who this stupid kid is, but I'm going to give him a try.
That's all
right?
the beginning
and
of
I
your
had some
career,
decent sales skills.
That's what
What's
you
that?
did at the beginning of your career.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I would go back to the
We challenged one of our loan officers in our branch to do this. She's doing it, and she's crushing it, double digits every month. No joke, crushing.
Realtors don't have
But she's
business
doing
to
what you
referral.
just
There's
said.
no one out there buying houses. They don't refer business anymore. People, you can't go consumer direct. Realtors don't influence clients anymore. That's all the people say. It's so not true.
Yeah, that is so
It's like
not
building an
true.
excuse for yourself to fail. I just can't stand it.
Yeah, so if you think about that, you're like,
And
Todd, let me get this straight. You wouldn't do any social media. you would craft an offer that really spoke to those top buyers agents. And I might have 2 or 3 offers, right? I might have 2 or 3 because I got to offer something of value. If people don't know you, there's got to be some offer of value. And then I would have to be really good when I met them in order to get them to give me a try.
Yep.
And if I met with 10 a week and I got 1 person to send me business, at the end of a month, I'd have 4, and I'd have the chance, because they're highly qualified realtors, that I would have a crack at doing 4, 5, 6 loans a month just from 4.
You know the part that
and I would be
you know
all
the part
over
that
them.
people are getting stuck on right now? The unique
What?
value proposition. They're saying,
Yes.
well, Todd, what would you say? What's your program? And what they're missing is that if Todd met with 60 of the top 200, even if Todd sucked, 5 of them would like him.
Yeah.
And those 5 would refer him. But they want to have this crazy, unique value proposition that's perfectly worded before they'll do the calls. That's what you don't get hung up.
It's like cleaning the kitchen before you even decide to
Yeah.
cook, right? Like, just start cooking.
You
Yep.
agree with that? Like,
Well,
seriously, Todd, I meant that as a question. You agree with that?
100%. So give an example. If we talk about Southwest Airlines' unique selling proposition, this is theirs. On time, low fares, have fun. That's their unique. Now, they say it a number of different ways, and how they do it is different. But that's their unique selling proposition. So any 3 of those things for an airline, they're not very sexy. On time, isn't that your job? Yeah, but we've got the highest on-time arrival rate of any airline in the United States. Okay, I want to get there on time because I'm on an airplane to go somewhere. Low fares. They don't say the cheapest fares. They just say, hey, want to get away for a while? We've got some pretty cheap fares, right? And then have fun. Like the lady over the loudspeaker that cracks a joke. That's on a checklist, guys. That's not them. Like, they give them a list of jokes to tell. That's a process, right? So how they do it is one thing, but it doesn't have to be some blow away. Oh my God, that's amazing. You can get me, back to your comment, Jimmy, you can get me 2 closings a month from social media, right? It can be as simple as, hey, I'm a loan officer. I work with 3 realtors. I want to add one. I specialize in getting them 1 client a month from their database and making them another 15 grand a month. I want to meet with 15 minutes, show you how I do it. I want to give me a chance to help you make some money. I'll get some meetings with that script.
I already had a prison.
If I did it on a video,
5 marketing students from Sac State and have them each work 2 hours a week and call leads for realtors from their database.
Easy.
Was a script. It would work.
All day.
So that's what I would do. If my choke point was more leads, that's exactly what I would do. And I'd get to closing 3, 4, 5 loans a month, and enough to survive pretty quickly. Now, the problem with that is, and this is my opinion, I think that, like, Jimmy, you have a new guy you hired, has a couple closings his first month. I have another guy we put through Loan Officer University. He closed 3 loans his second month. And I'm like, if they can do it, so what are they doing that other people aren't? And
Working.
I think that it has to do with entitlement.
I was
right.
just going to say, it's sales,
They're
period.
working.
It's I have 2 loan officers in my office that are seasoned vets. They know the business very well. They are both superstars in their own right. And they could put a loan together like nobody's business. And they have incredible retention skills, meaning that they've retained the business. Candidly, they took over my business. So they're doing a beautiful job there. They're frustrated that 2 of the other loan officers in our group are much more inexperienced, but whooping them. They're whooping them. And I said, listen to me. Better known beats better. And you are in your desk waiting to take care of a deal, and they're going out and finding the deal. And there is a huge difference. So you've got to sell more, you will do more, but you've got to sell more. And I think that when people get hung up on like, why isn't it working? I just lost the one deal that I finally got a phone call and a referral about. If they really are honest, they just sit down and look at it. If they were being honest with themselves, they do not sell over 80% of their day. And if you don't sell over 80% of your day in a market like this, you're not going to generate more leads, period, in the story.
Yeah. I know you're talking about.
I think what you guys are saying is there's every season in life creates it demands different.
It's a good job.
This is a market where you have 50% of loan officers getting out. That's already happened. Most of that's already happened, right? A lot of people don't realize this. There was 190-something thousand private mortgage bank licensed LOs. Right now, it's right around 100,000 or 95,000. It's already happened. So there is more market share. That's the truth. Now, the market has shrank, but isn't the market shrank, it's maybe 20% below a normal market. Now, I know people will disagree with that, so that's what the stats show, okay? So talking ourselves into the fact that it's a horrific market. But with that said, there is more competition per loan. So you just got to make more context. Like, I was talking to one of our loan officers last week, and he's like, Todd, I don't get it. I was making $500,000 a year, like pretty consistently, and now it's 200 or 180. I said, okay, let's look at your lead volume during those times. So we went back and looked at his lead tracker. He was averaging 72 leads a month when he was making $500,000 a year. Today he's averaging was 22 or 24 a month. I said, bud, do the math. It's almost exact. Like, you're gone from 500 to 200 because your leads went from 72 to 22. That's just math. So we got to find a way to increase leads.
They all think that the conversion rate has dropped dramatically. It hasn't. It just hurts more when you lose one.
Yes. But it is the amount of leads. And at the end of the day, all three of us came from a philosophy and a mentality that more leads solve all problems, and that ultimately more leads is the gateway to having the business that you want. Everything starts with a lead. It starts and ends with whether or not you generated the lead. And I think too many people go home every single day after a full 8 hours not generating a single thing that actually creates the outcome that they want. And that is a lead. And you need more than one if you're going to build a business, but at a brand, at a bare minimum, you need one a day, period, in the story in order to close up shop.
Yep. I'll say it a different way, Robyn. Until a business finds out how to get more leads than it can handle, you will always struggle. Always. Now, I'm not saying solving that equation is easy. What I'm saying is it's worth your while.
Yep.
And in this market, like, if you just did the 100 contacts a day before noon, that's 40 calls, that's 60 sent videos.
Wow.
You will get appointments if you have a decent offer.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have a decent offer, you'll probably meet a couple people a day.
I was going to say, you still will, even without the best. As we wrap, Todd, I'm going to shameless plug this for a minute. You guys, if you're a loan officer listening to this, Jimmy Reed runs our Next Level coaching program. I'm talking to recruits all across the nation. And what I hear from every single one of them is, my company closes loans, but I don't know where to go to fix my problem, which is simply, I'm not closing enough units, period. And what I would tell you is that Summit Funding at its core is a development company, and it's a development company that mortgages its vessel. And we literally create a pathway for you to do more loans. We know exactly how to coach it. We know exactly how to praise it. We know exactly how to hold you accountable to it so that you do get the results regardless of market conditions that you want. So I know you wouldn't do it, Todd, but I'm doing it for you. Like, that is at the heart of what we do and how we do it. And I don't think that, I don't think a lot of companies are focused on the individual loan officer closing more and increasing their paycheck right now.
100%. And I don't know, I think this is coming out. It might even, I'm going to do a 4-part series just on lead generation for loan officers and really going deep, very, very specific. So it's an hour a week for 4 weeks, and it starts at the end of October. So if you're on this, if you're listening to this, you'll probably get an invite for that. And I can't accept everybody, but for those that can get in on that, I'll see how it goes. But I think there is, when you talk about offers, for example, you talk about scripts, you talk about where to find information, people get lost in all the details. And I think I can shortcut that process for a lot of loan officers. It's exciting. I think it's fun to work on this stuff. I think it's fun to struggle. I know that's not popular, but to me, it's I'm challenge motivated. So when someone tells me, hey, you can't close as many loans as you used to, let me show you. I'm going to figure that stuff out, right? Like, I will have to change. I'll have to grow. I'll have to do new things. I'll have to feel uncomfortable. But as long as I'm willing to do that, I look at it as a fun challenge. Because if you can generate the leads that you need in this market, imagine how good you're going to do in a more normalized market when people finish getting out of the business, interest rates aren't 8%, people start buying more homes. You're going to do really well, like another 30, 40% better. And so that's how I think of it. Like, hey, if I could just compartmentalize this and I can learn this stuff and really change and grow over the next few months, imagine what that's going to pay dividends long term, because the best investment is yourself, your skills. And I don't think that dawns on people a lot. I really don't. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Jimmy, Robyn, thank you very much. Hopefully it gave you some ideas. Have a beautiful day. Bye, guys.